What's the tool of discovering the truth? Is it mysticism or mind or reasoning?
I would not necessarily completely distinguish rationality from mysticism. The mind, reason mind, of course, contains the element of reason, but also contains other functions. Imagination is also a function of mind. And the mental faculties, including imagination, play an important role, actually, in spiritual transformation, in mystical understanding. And so reason certainly is an important element of our ability to navigate the world, to discern judgments that are crucial to our day-to-day operating. But at the same time, there are other senses, other fields of awareness, and reason always interprets the senses that we bring to bear upon it. But we limit ourselves in the senses that we employ. There are further senses beyond the five senses. And even these five senses, how rarely do we fully use them? Are we fully awake and alert and engaged through our senses? When this happens, of course, reason must stretch itself to encompass the fullness of experience. And what if one would open other senses beyond the five senses? Senses that grasp, that intuit fields of being that these five senses cannot encompass. The intuition that reaches out into the stars, the expansion of the heart quality that resonates and produces a sense of immersion in the divine presence, that too becomes then empirical substance for reason. And reason can certainly follow from the experience of a mystical state. Shahabuddin Yahya Sohrawardi, whom I mentioned, was very interesting in this regard because he was fully trained as a philosopher in the line of Ibn Sina, Avicenna, and the Aristotelian tradition, and was also a mystic. And he found that sometimes the form of syllogistic reasoning was insufficient for him. There were certain questions on his mind that none of the authorities available to him could answer to his satisfaction. And he felt he had to have recourse to a higher mode of knowing. And so when he was grappling with the subject of knowledge, he decided he had come as far as he could with syllogisms, and he entered into a retreat. He undertook a deep spiritual retreat, prayer, fasting, meditation, and he had a dream. And in that dream, Aristotle appeared to him. And Aristotle answered his question. And then, from the heights of that experience, he came down and elaborated the response in a way that was logically consistent and could be understood and comprehended by someone who had not had the same experience. Because a mystic cannot just make claim to his or her own personal subjective experience and expect that it counts for everyone else. If the mystic wants to communicate in this world, then he or she will have to translate those experiences into terms that are relatable, and that's exactly what Sohrawardi did.
Does the inner mystical consciousness manifest in the outer world?
Well, there's so many different kinds of inner experiences, so one doesn't want to overgeneralize. But the mystical path is a progressive one. There are stations along the path. There are maqamat and halat. Now, maqamat are stations. Halat are states. States change frequently, but the maqams, the stations, are like phases of life, phases in the evolution of one's awareness that that are maintained for months or years on end. And then the states continue to alternate and revolve, but within the lens of that maqam. But then one finds at a certain moment, at an initiatic moment, one moves from one maqam, one station, to another station. So our states, of course, affect our outer life, because whatever we're sensing and experiencing inwardly comes out somehow in our words, in our expression, in our choices. And those states change from time to time, and so we have an impulse to do this, and then to do this, to rest, and then be active. All of those states are always changing. But there's a larger, you might say, vibration, a degree of attunement, of awareness, and that pervades one's life in a different way. It doesn't change so much, but it emanates out as a kind of continuous atmosphere. It is the direction of one's life. It is the tenor of a being. And so yes, in any case, whether one's experience is the more transitory experience, or whether it is the more deeply grounded, foundational realization, it will reveal itself. We cannot hide who we are. Whoever we are, our bodies, our eyes, our movements reflect our state.